Hey guys, I got another little goodie for you. When it comes to the Trumpeter Titanic, the 1/200 scale model kit, I've shown you different things and little goodies here and there. I got a couple more that are on the way, but what I want to show you today is the decks. Now this is decking from ScaleDex.com, and I want to give a shout out to my friend Alan. He actually showed this to me, and at first I wasn't going to get it because I have the Pontos detail kit, and that comes with the decks. But once I started to actually look at this and look at the detail that's in it, it's just amazing. So Alan, thank you very much. By the way, I hope you're feeling better, and let's take a look at this. So what I'm going to do right now is it comes in like plastic, like a plastic sleeve, and I'm going to show you everything that it comes with. The only thing I didn't really like about this is it came in that box, and it was all rolled up, and it took a while for me to get it flat again. I actually used the Glencoe kit that I have that I'll be making shortly, and I had it weighted down on the floor to get it flat again because they rolled it into the box, and it took forever to get the roll out of it. So now it's nice and flat. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to take it out of the packaging and I'll show you what's inside. Alright, so I took it out of the packaging, and it does come with a couple of manuals. You can see the first one has a layout of what's included in the kit, and this is the general tips and techniques. So let's go over this one first. Now I always put photographs of everything up for you guys, but what I'm realizing is the new program that I'm using for my videos, it's in high definition, so it might be better, instead of all the photographs, to actually use the video to show you guys what's in the manual. So you can actually pause it if you want, and you'll be able to read it. So this is general tips and techniques. You can see the introduction, preparation. Before you even think about getting started and gluing your wood pieces to plastic, here are some things to consider ahead of time. And you can see the different, the first rule is that the deck is shipped rolled up, which most are, and then liberated from its package and allow it to uncurl. And I had done that. You may want to spray the entire surface of the wood deck with a clear matte finish. The wood is very thin, more fragile than plastic. We use the lowest possible powder in order to avoid scorching the wood. Completely cut. To clean out the small holes, press any remaining center through the front and the back with a sharp hobby knife. Some areas of the deck may be printed in dark gray to simulate steel features. As the deck pieces are printed, with the link to provide detail, wet ash or stains are absolutely not recommended. You can apply dry powder pigments and light dry brushing. Although the way it looks, in my opinion, the way it looks right now, I gotta tell you, I'm not gonna do anything to it. I'm probably gonna just put it on like that because I think it looks amazing. And there is no need to sand down, molded and plank, rendered and raised lines or grooves in the plastic. It's gonna fit good the way it is. Glues and adhesives. This deck allows you to use a variety of adhesives. One that cures slowly is the best for you to use. The favorite is Gorilla Glue. They talk about water-based. It's clear. So that's the first page. It is printed on both sides. So talking about tips and techniques for working with ScaleDex with decks. You need to work slowly, grips, and some people prefer working with white glue, thicker. I'm thinking that's the wood glue or the Elmer type glue. But if you want to read everything, you can pause the video. Moving down to the advice and hints and techniques, it brings us to removing the pieces from the sheets using a sharp blade. That's good advice for anything. The edges and pieces of a bit of darkening caused by the accumulation of a bladed material when the laser cuts through. Again, you can pause and check it out if you want to read every word for word, everything. Mark the edge of the wood decks with a pencil to darken the cut area. Use an eraser to rub off all material on the cut edges. When wood pieces are cut and the plastic pieces are ready to go, cover the plastic decks first with the glue, then the underside of the wood deck. So you really want to apply glue to both surfaces. So they're telling you that not just to put it on the plastic or just put it on the deck, they want you to put it on both. You may find that the glue makes the wood swell and expand a bit, causing a bubble or a ridge. The glue dries to correct it again. Just keep working the wood and smoothing it out. Kind of like, you know, the old days when you'd wallpaper. You want to make sure it's nice and smooth, and when it dries that there are no bubbles. And it shows you the photographs. In the event that you do get a big ridge, if you get a big ridge where the deck is bowed up, you can make a tiny fine slit along the plank line to eliminate it. That way there, when you follow the lines, it doesn't really show. It shows you how to remedy the situation. It's common for the glue to plug the holes in slots when installing the wood deck. Clear the holes with a sharp knife. Good wood practical advice is to cut up some small scraps of surplus wood and practice gluing it. So that's page 3. Moving on to page 4. It shows you some of the products that they recommend. And you can see the Gorilla Glue and disposable paintbrushes and the gluing the top of the wood deck, like the Tester's cement. When you get to work, prepare the surface. So what this is preparing you, not necessarily anything about the deck itself yet, but it shows you how you want to go about putting it on, prepping it, taking care of it, and making sure it stays in place. Use a paper towel, sharp knife, obviously, and the different pieces of equipment you can use. And on the back, you can like us on Facebook, and it shows you the information and the contact information, and ScaleDex.com. So that's basically, because this is an investment, and this kit was $129, and you guys that either want it or own the Trumpeter kit know that that's expensive. And you may have the Pontos kit, and that's expensive. So this kit is going to be quite an investment when it's done. This isn't a cheap kit. So you want to really take care of everything. Read all the instructions, read all the tips, and get the most out of your decking. So moving on, now we actually start the manual. And it shows you the pieces of the deck that come with the kit. And this is for the Trumpeter 1-200 kit. And again, I think the video would be better than putting up a photograph. Please excuse my shaky hands. Maybe I do it this way. You can see the first part. You got the bow and the stern section. You can see the pieces for the hatch covers to be removed. And you got some more of the decks, the decking. And finally, you got this part. Looks like for the areas around the crane section, A-deck, promenades. And then you got a little bit more information. Please familiarize yourself with both sets of instructions prior to assembly. So the instructions are in two parts. Specific instructions for the Trumpeter 1-200 kit, and the other set of instructions is for general notes, and I have showed you that one already. So that was the first page. So let's take a look and see what's on the other side of this. It shows you the order of assembly. The Titanic deck sets come on 3 sheets, with sheet 1 representing the lowest decks, sheet 2 the middle decks, and sheet 3 are the upper decks. So that's good to know. Building the kit in order provided in the instructions. Let me make sure I get everything in a shot so you can pause it and read it if you want. Kit instructions may vary over time as the manufacturers make adjustments or calculations. Step 1 is the foredeck, poop deck, and the well decks. Now again, it tells you about the other instructions. And that's good to refer to when you're cutting out everything, because this is very delicate and it's thin, so you want to keep it in pristine condition. So the box fit deck is designed to fit in the kit as is right out of the box. High detail, the deck has a lot of laser cuts and holes omitted, is intended for the modeler to plan to scrape off a lot of the molded in detail, replace plastic castings. With these 2 pieces, you can make your own custom deck, and it gives you the rest of the instructions. Step 1, the instructions. On the very first step of the instructions on page 8, you are tasked with inserting the well deck pieces. Step 2 has you apply some machinery parts, the aft deck as well as the will tuck under the overhang. In step 3, attach the foredeck and poop deck to the hull. Again, you can pause that and read word for word. And it shows you pictures of the forward deck well, and you can see the holes for the cargo hatches going up to the bow where the anchor crane will be. And this picture shows the stern, or the aft deck well. You could see where the cranes would go, and the aft cargo hatches. When the forward well deck and foredeck pieces are in place, they should look something like this. And the same thing for both. Then it shows you be sure to save the small walkaway piece from sheet 1. Use on kit piece 813 in step, was that 49? If you like this, you can glue the wood deck to the plastic piece. Now, this wood kit piece 813 is easily overlooked, so be sure to save it for later. Moving on. Step 2, B deck and the Promenade deck. On this sheet, many of the pieces will be internal, so the build to this so great time to practice and hone your technique when working with some of the larger sheets. B deck is only partially planked, whereas the Promenade is pretty much complete covering. Step 5, page 11, you work in the kit, you're cutting out the pieces, and it should look something like that. Here is the aft section of the piece Q1 with the wood deck in place and tucked under the bulkheads. So that looks really nice. Like I said, this model kit is going to be phenomenal. And I got the Magic Scale modeling, the sound effects with the speakers and the lights that are actually going to go around and light up the smokestacks. And if you guys want to check that video out, I'm doing a whole playlist of things for the Trumpeter 1200 model kit, so that's really cool if you want to check that out. So up to step 8, Promenade deck. Installed between the two sides. The deck is so long that the wood sheets to cover it are broken into 3 separate pieces. Well, that's good to know. Lay down the 2 sheets, the sharp knife, so that you have a slice through them both expansion joint area. Again, go through the instructions very well. You don't want to just take it out and slap it onto the model. Press firm and cut through both overlapping sheets with a sharp knife. So this shows you the steps, what they should look like. Remove excess wood from the top sheet, revealing the cut below, and remove the excess wood from the bottom sheet along previously cut lines. So we move on to step 11. Be sure to press down firmly on the bulkhead piece T1 and U1 in step 11 before the glue sets. And it shows you the areas that'll go along the promenade. If kit pieces T, TJ, and U1 are riding a bit high, you can trim the molded in ridge of the top areas. So if it shows that it could need to be trimmed, then there's a good possibility that it will need to be trimmed. All right, moving on. Got some nice pictures of the top. The boat deck and the rooftops. This is by far the most prominent and eye-catching part. Well, that's true. That's what everyone's going to see is the top of the ship. These photos show the waterways of the boat deck of the Titanic. The photo at the left is from the Titanic Research and Model Association. Ignore the circle around the compass platform and look at the edge of the wood deck. So you want to be looking around the edge. That's nice. Beautiful. What a grand lady. There will never be another Titanic. She's just absolutely amazing. The features are also rendered in the ScaleDex.com wood deck to bring this level to life. You can see that it just looks so beautiful. These decks are just amazing, and they look amazing on, I can imagine, excuse me, like the battleships, Missouri, and how some of the other Trumpeter 1200 scale model kits of the battleships, these decks would just look spectacular on it. And moving on to step 13, apply 3 sections of wood deck to the boat deck. Include pieces S1, and use the same overlap trim technique as described on the promenade earlier. So, moving on once again, step 23, you begin working on the bridge structure, kit piece V1. You can see that just looks beautiful. Look at the grand staircase, how just gorgeous this is. This kit is phenomenal. It makes you wonder, because everything is always improving. So who's going to take this model and then improve on it, and someday we'd have a 1/100 scale model of the Titanic? God, I hope not. This broke the bank. This model kit and all the little accessories that go with it are very expensive, and it's just going to be amazing. It's going to be museum quality, and that's what I go for. And authentication, or as close as I can. Step 29, apply the wood deck to fit kit piece K2 before adding any additional components. Step 30, kit piece L1 has the wood deck provided. Some sources indicate that this was planked. So you can check it on your kit to see what it is. Step 33, apply the wood deck to kit piece K1. can see the absolutely spectacular results. Plus another thing that this, well, let me show you. Photo at the left shows the planking in place on kit piece K2 and L1 and at the aft end of the lit piece V1. Now any of you guys that have painted the decks and then detailed everything in, this really saves a lot of steps. So this, and the result looks better than any paint job could do, in my opinion. And finally, the last page looks like it's the finished model. Well, finished with the deck anyway. If I can get better photos of this, or get a digital copy of this, it might look a little bit better, and I'll show you guys the photos that way. But with wood deck supply, the 1/200 Trumpeter Titanic can be a very impressive build. It'd be impressive without it. It's just that kind of model is just that spectacular. But this decking kit just really puts it over the top. And again, you can see the contact information and Facebook and the website ScaleDex.com. So those are the manuals that come with the sheets. So why don't we take a look at the sheets themselves. Actually, let me put it where you can see there one by one. Alright, so this is the top sheet. You can see where the wheelhouse would go. And the deck just looks great. I apologize for that roar. It's actually the pellet stove. Because here in New England, it's been abnormally cold. We didn't even get above freezing in the daytime. You can see ScaleDex.com. So let me show you guys the next sheet. You can see that just looks fantastic. Let me get close for you. That's the piece that they were telling you not to overlook. Look at that, absolutely gorgeous. Zoom you into the deck of the Titanic. I mean, the planking is just incredible. Let me show you guys the last sheet, and then I'm going to compare it with the Pontos deck. All right, here's deck 3, sheet 3 of 3. It's just going to look amazing. And it looks like the decking for the top of the wheelhouse. So let's go ahead and I'm going to open up the Pontos kit and I'll show you guys a comparison between the two decks. Alright, so I opened up the Pontos kit, and if you guys want to see the video on this, you can check it out. Now, I'm not doing this to put down the Pontos kit, because the Pontos kit is absolutely gorgeous as well. You can see, actually, let me take it out of the bag and I'll put it side by side. Alright, so I took it out of the bag. Now, what you guys may or may not know, the kit that I'm showing you right now from ScaleDex does not have any kind of backing or adhesive. And you must put your own adhesive down on the back of the sheet as well as the ship surface to get it to fit. Now the Pontos, you may or may not know, actually comes with kind of like an adhesive, like a sticker on the back. So you can see the Pontos version of the decking, which is still very nice. Let me do a side-by-side comparison. And the one on the left is ScaleDex, and the one on the right is the Pontos. You can see you can understand now why when I seen this, I decided to get this, because it is absolutely gorgeous. The different colors in the wood and the show of the signs of the wear, and it's just like the actual deck that you would expect from what would have been on the Titanic. And this is still nice, the Pontos version. You can do a little bit of detailing and weathering yourself if you wanted to get the planks to look like that. So that's the bow section. Moving on to the stern section, I can show you guys this first. You can see again, it's got the adhesive on the back, so let's side-by-side comparison. It's not going to stay that way, so we can do it that way. So the stern, the one on the left is the Pontos, and the one on the right is ScaleDex. And you can see the poop deck, the colors are just amazing. And I'm going to put this up in high definition, and I hope it does it justice. I love it. I absolutely love these decks. They're absolutely gorgeous. And that's the Pontos. Again, I'm not trying to put the Pontos down, because the Pontos decks are very nice. But that's the difference between the Pontos and the ScaleDex. To me, it's not even close. So let's see what other comparisons we can make. All right, back to sheet 3. That's the ScaleDex, and this is the same piece for the Pontos. Again, it's still nice. You can see the grain. And now the ScaleDex. I said it's just, the colors in the woods are amazing, and the detail is just absolutely gorgeous. So let me do the side-by-side feel. The one on the left is the Pontos, and the one on the right is ScaleDex. So, my friends, if you guys were curious about what came in this kit from ScaleDex, I hope this satisfied your curiosity. I showed you the instructions, the tips and tricks. I've showed you some of the detail on the wood. And I showed you guys a comparison with the Pontos version of the Scale kits. So, in a nutshell, that's what you get for the kit for $129. And I highly suggest that if you're going to do the Trumpeter 1-200 kit, and you're very serious about it, and who wouldn't be? Let's face it, guys, if you're buying this model and you're doing all the labors of love and getting all the bells and whistles to go with it, it's probably because you're in love with the Titanic like I am, or incredibly devoted to modeling. And you're going to buy this, and you're not going to just slap it together and throw it on a shelf. This is going to be something that you're going to put together and you're going to be proud of, and you're going to pass down for generations to your kids and even their kids. And you really want the best for this kit. And when it comes to this, when I had seen this, and you know, like I said, my friend Alan had shown me the link for this, and when you look at it on the site, it really doesn't do the decks justice. It's when you actually get them and you start looking at the detail in the planks that you're just blown away. And you can just picture it on the ship, on the finished model, and it's just amazing. I hope the camera does it justice. I'll do it in high definition for you guys, and I hope you see the true the scale of the beauty of these decks. It's really amazing. So that was the R.M.S. Titanic 1/200 scale for ScaleDex. And this would be, let's see the part number, I'll show you guys, LCD 25, and that would be for the Titanic. You can see the logo, ScaleDex.com. So my friends, like I said, I got a couple little goodies coming up that I had picked up a few extra little pieces to go with the Trumpeter kit, and when those come in, I'll show you guys the video and I'll preview them for you. Till then, I thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.